Really sorry to put you on the spot here, Burger Kim, but I gotta ask for your prediction as we're heading straight to the drafts.
Oh, it's so hard to tell. Maybe I'll get back to you after the draft. It's all gonna boil
Okay.
down to that. But if you're talking about stats, Eternal, if you're talking about the history, if you're talking about just purely those, it will have to be Smart Omega that will take in the series you know if that's the case, right? They've been through situations like this, a 1-1 series wherein it's already a match point for the other team. They're able to get in at least a reverse sweep. But in this case, right, like you've seen game number one, that was a different Onyx all that we've seen. So again, I cannot count them out just yet. These are two of the best female teams here in the Philippines, and I wouldn't be surprised if Onyx all takes it. I would be also happy to see that Smart Omega makes it forward, but there can only be one here in this lower bracket, right? It's either Onyx all or it's either Smart Omega here in this lower bracket rounds. And now, of course, it's going to be still the same blue side, though, this time to Onyx all.
And it looks like you mentioned, right? Blue side has been looking better
Yep.
in terms of the win rate, right? Game number one, it was ONIC. Game number two was Omega, and they were able to win it out from the blue side. So with ONIC picking up blue side, will we be seeing the same pattern showing through? Novaria gonna be the ban here in the first phase of the bans, as well as the Luo Yi taken off the board. Now, ONIC, do they want to take away the Moskov here and now, or are they gonna let it slide again?
Or are they going to pick it up for themselves? There's also the Matilda Open here, which I know Smart Omega banned away in game number one. Or I think for Onyx all, just straight up take the Moskov for themselves, like steal it away from Shinoa, right? It had a great performance in game number two. Why not just steal it in for themselves? And yeah, it seems to be this pattern this time for the ladies of the female MLBB, the Moskov priority once again stolen away from Smart Omega. Let's see if Keishi, or rather Shinoa, will actually pick up her hero this time around. The Harriet is still up, but knowing Shinoa, she's actually a bit more comfortable with marksmans like Carrie, marksmans like Beatrix. So yeah, I think those are some of the things that we have to consider here for the second phase.
We'll open our eyes for that as the Roger is still up for grabs, because so far in the series it's always been a Natan Roger or a Moskov Roger. With Natan being banned out, they actually go in for the
Oh,
Harith
yeah.
early on in the first phase of the drafts, as well as the Matilda to aid in that mid trio, which is quite interesting, right? Because like you mentioned earlier on, Burger Kim, Smart Omega Empress, they find their best comfort in the late game, but for going something like the Harith and the Matilda, it's already a different shade of Smart Omega Empress here in game number three.
Ooh, that's a lot of shields to take in, right? Like if you're talking about the Esmeralda here right now, she's gonna have a field day with these two. You got the Matilda, you got the Harriet here, which is great for pressuring out the Moskov. But for Onyxol, they are still gonna go with the staple pick. Of course, the Vexana still on their side. Are they gonna go for a jewel hero? Oh yeah, there you go. The Grok. That had a very, very good performance in game number one, Eternal. The Flicker Wild Charge, it was just way too good. And right now it's looking really scary. The combo here of the Eternal Guard, the combo here with the Moskov as well. So this is looking really deadly as well coming out from Onyx. So a good balance between early to late game.
And one of the weaknesses of a Harith is crowd control, right?
Mhm.
Even though the Harith goes in for the Purify, let's say, that's still a cooldown that they still need to account for with so much crowd control over on the side from ONIC. And it looks like that's exactly what they're trying to punish over onto the Harith. So the final pick. You've been great with predictions so far. Okay, I was a
Oh,
little
there.
late. The Fredrin gonna be the choice here, locked in. Is this a flex or will this be going into the jungle?
Yeah, definitely. I think this should be a jungle pick. Like we've seen the Fredrin. I mean, if you ask the other players, if you ask the coaches, what's the best jungler right now, it is still the Fredrin. I know there was a time where Fredrin was first released, and he really took a long time before he actually made it to the meta. But right now, it's a staple. It's been several patches, it's been several seasons between like major tournaments, and Fredrin is still a thing.
Yeah, people keep saying like, man, I'm so bored of the Fredrin. Like even Mirko, he's like, God, why is Fredrin? Why does he still exist?
to live.
I mean, it's the same case as the Valentina. It has always been in the meta. Like, there are some heroes that seem to fit any type of patch, not unless it gets a massive nerf. Honestly, me too. Like, every single tournament I'm in, it's like the spread run is following me. It's here. It's present every single time. I mean, it's so good. It has crowd control. It can soak up the damage. It has a decent amount of it's a great way to secure in those neutral objectives as well. So I can kind of understand why the teams really just go for the Fredrin every time.
It's haunting you. It's following you wherever you go.
I'm gonna be dreaming about this Fredrin later on. I mean, when I play ranked games, I still see the Fredrin. I mean, come on, it's everywhere. It's omnipresent.
It truly is. And now the Barretts has been taken off the board, so they're starting to limit the jungle options that, of course, ONIC can go for. With the Boxia still up for grabs, it still is a possibility. We saw it in MPL ID being one of the main focuses of picks, especially with the export being banned out. There's not much counterplay unless, of course, the Alpha suddenly pops in.
Or the Martis, actually, for Bene here. That can also be a great pickup, right? Anti-CC at the same time, a very good early game, something that she really picks up. And it's also a great way to go up against the Fredrin when it comes to those objective takes. It's going to be real good. But now it is going to be Smart Omega that will lock in their pick. They still need something for Not Ayanami. The Arlot is still up for the taking. It can actually zone out the backlines, or will they go for a Yuzong, someone to take down the backlines? But considering how she was using this, it will be. Wait, what? I thought they were gonna go. Oh wait! Oh no! So it is a classic Amor. She loves this hero. She's been spamming this, but I don't know how. I don't know. It turned out. How does this fit in the current meta? Like a savior?
I wouldn't really vouch for the win rate so far. I think we saw Xavier once at MPL ID, but it didn't work out. Sure, there's global presence with his ultimate, obviously, but it's just so vulnerable. The clear is also not as great as a Vexana if you want to go for a head-to-head of the mid laners. And talk about dive, right? We have the Paquito, we have the Alpha, not to mention the Grok, and even the Moskov can go in into the back line. It's a very, very risky mid laner to go for, and it will require a little bit more cover other than the Matilda. So we'll see the last pick coming through, and it's gonna be Lapu Lapu, a playmaker.
They definitely need that right now because they all, so far, if you look at the lineup, there's no one to set up the plays, right? It's only the Fredrin, and having the Lapu Lapu here can really disrupt the team fights, or at least take down the backlines here of ONIC. I know this is a comfort pick for Amor. She really loves this hero. I've been seeing her post about it on social media a couple of patches back. Like, she really loves spamming this hero. I believe she even reached like top global savior, if I'm not mistaken. It's a comfort pick, and I think they're going for this to kind of have that global presence on the Moskov as well. But I don't know, right? There's a lot to consider here, right? You got the Paquito, you got the wild charge of the Grok. There's just so much to take in here.
It's really vulnerable against the composition that, of course, ONIC have brought in, but I guess that's what it takes. Burger Kim, I guess that's what it takes in this final game of this best of 3 series. With their tournament lives at stake, they want to go for comfort, and they want to go for their pocket picks and their pocket strategies, just keeping everyone on their toes. So without further ado, let's jump into the Land of Dawn for the final game, not just of this series, but in this game. Will Omega be able to move forward in this tournament, or will they have to say goodbye to their tournament lives and say goodbye to that final ticket to MWI?
Yep, Smart Omega here. They have that huge potential to have that reverse sweep, right? But right now, I want to talk a little bit about the Savior, right? It's so vulnerable right now. It only has the Flicker. It doesn't even have the Purify as of the moment. So Amor just has to really position herself really well. You got the Bargain Hunter as well onto the Harriet as well as the Savior, so that they can get their items very early on. But, you know, you can expect to see a very aggressive Onyx Zol here. You got Jewel on the Grok, so she's just not going to let up against Keishi, making sure that she's not able to farm that well near the game.
But like you mentioned, right, with so much just aggression coming through from Onyx Zol, you would expect maybe the Xavier to go for something a little bit more safer in terms of that emblem choice, but he went in very aggressive, right? With a bargain hunter as well. There's impure rage.
Yep.
There's no tenacity, no movement speed for Amor. But I think what they're going for with the Xavier is that late game,
Oh, no.
right? When Xavier, oh, so close.
Yep, way too close, Mirai. Okay, they both are chunked down real low before the turtle, so they have to back away. I did see them pull this off. Like, I'm trying to, like, scout my mind if there's like any info that I can get on the Savior. Yeah, there was a match that they actually pulled off the Savior pretty well. They were actually able to get in that series. So it's really a pocket pick for Amor. So I do understand why they would bring it out in a crucial game like this. It's a comfort pick. She's very comfortable with it. So why not just go for it, right? It's already the last matchup. Let's see. I think they're just going to give away the turtle for ONIC Sol. They're just going to give it without any contest at all from Smart Omega.
Yeah, I think, again, right? Back onto the Xavier, I think late game is what they're looking for, right? Because when the Xavier, with the Bargain Hunter especially, will be able to get those items a lot quicker, those items are going to be detrimental in how these team fights will happen. Jewel going to be able to get out of that particular engage safely. But again, right, if ONIC Zol are banking on team fight, and if that's what they're looking for, the poke from the Xavier is going to be a problem. Meanwhile, though, in the bottom lane...
Oh, wow. Yeah. Rian was able to actually back away from that one. That was 3 members of Smart Omega. And then you got the Dawning Light as well from the Savior. So I think that's also what they're going for, right? The snipe kills here onto like any of the low members, especially onto Rian, which really is a game changer for the side of ONIC All. 3 minutes in, we still don't have our first blood, but it's ONIC All that has taken in the first turtle of the game. Right now, not Ayanami in trouble. Still immune, pops in the bravest fighter, but now Bene is here to aid the Sage, and they're gonna draw in first blood up against Smart Omega.
1-for-0 trade earlier on. ONIC Zol just really pick up the pace here with the composition that they have brought in. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, you do see that Amor is having a little bit of trouble clearing out the lanes with Murray, sorry. Caught off really quite low here. Gonna be forced to exit the premises as they look for a pick onto Shinoa.
Yep, Eternal Guard and the Guardian's Barrier. That's a lot of ultimates invested onto Shinoa for her to back away, making sure that Rian has her lane up. Bene is here to join the party as well right before the turtle take. No ultimates have been committed just yet, but so far our gold laners are just dancing up against each other. Keishi as well. Okay, not gonna be able to use the Retribution. Okay, they were just checking that in. But you see Jewel as well dishing out so much damage. Here comes the second turtle of the game.
Yeah, it looked like Jewel wanted to go for a pick onto Keishi's Retribution, but Bene is a level ahead. 2 levels ahead, actually.
Wow, the Guardian's Barrier for Bene just to be able to take in again the second turtle. This was the pattern that ONIC Zol had in game number 1. They got in almost all of the turtles, which kind of made it hard for Smart Omega to be able to get in the XP and that gold that they needed. But right now, they're just buying for time. So it's fine, right? The Harriet, the Savior, these need the time to be able to scale up. But ONIC Zol, we can kind of see their composition. Jewel, Bene, these are very early game, aggressive type of heroes.
Yeah, and that's their comfort, right? They love to play in this early game, but meanwhile, Circling Eagle committed.
A lot of ultimates being invested here. Appraiser's Brat and the Dawning Light enough to take down Bene. Shinoa joins in the party as well. Who's on the mid side? It's actually Attorney Ag gonna be able to soak up the damage. A double kill for Shinoa in the 5-minute mark. ONIC Zol wanted to go for the engage, but they actually gave 2 kills straight to Shinoa.
Rian?
Yep, she's able to take down the tower real low, but that's 2 members. Mirai does not have the Circling Eagle just yet. Look at Shinoa dancing through, pops in the Zaman Force. Oh, the Rian! Oh, Dawning Light misses! But here comes the Circling Eagle, takes down Rian. 1-for-1 exchange. Definitely worth it for Smart Omega.
For sure, right? You would trade in a gold laner for a roamer any day. And the fact that they can try and stop Rian from progressing into her items, that's already so much value for Smart Omega Empress here in the 5th minute of the game. And back to this, right? Bene still has the upper hand when it comes down to that EXP, a level ahead so far. So as they're going to dance around this next neutral objective on the next turtle, they do still hold the advantage. But Smart Omega Empress, they have been trading beautifully, limiting ONIC Zol's advantage to only an 800k gold lead.
can see the global presence being felt here as well from the Savior, the dawning light that kind of, peels some of the members of ONIC Soul really low, and then maybe perhaps like Shinoa goes in for the final kill. There's a lot of possibilities here. Still ONIC Soul in the lead right now, 500, not that far just yet. We can't safely say who has the ball in their hands, but so far, Smart Omega, they have to get in this last turtle. They've been giving all of these turtles to ONIC Soul so far.
Bene still has a level ahead here, Burger Kim. Let's see who gets it.
There's the wild charge. Bene gonna be able to get in that retribution. Wild charge being popped here as well. Moskov joins in the party. Rian in the right time. Chunks down not Dayanami real low. One for the price of none. Definitely still ONIC Soul here that is leading. They got in a kill onto the XP lane and they got in the turtle as well.
But remember that damage is already showing from Amor on the Xavier, right? That dawning light was able to really stop Rian on her path to wreak havoc onto the members of Smart Omega Empress, and that will be a problem moving forward. Might even require an Athena shield at some point in the game as Rian picks the next core item with the Golden Staff.
Yeah, 3-3 is our score. It's still still ONIC Soul that has been, taking in this game, right? Like 3 turtles for them to boot, and right now Jewel going in for the Guardian's Barrier, able to get the shields up here for Shinoa, Kira of the Guiding Wind, but right now ONIC, 4 members here on the top side trying to get in the lane, circling Eagle onto Rian, but look at the damage coming through. Shinoa still able to defend that lane.
That was a good circling Eagle by Murray, buying a lot more time for Shinoa to clear out that lane. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Paquito as well as that Lapu Lapu gonna be battling it out, but it looks like Addy Ang will still be able to clear and push in those lanes. But I'm worried about this far lane, right? With the Lord spawning in this bottom lane, there is gonna be more leeway for Smart Omega Empress to play with, seeing as one of those turrets has already been taken down, despite ONIC Soul's gold lead that they have amassed. It still can flip the other ways. Look at that. Shinoa constantly going on the clear, and they know that Rian will be forced to go for the clear. They're looking for a pick. Don't find it just yet, but this is the dire moments that really will tell the course of the game moving forward.
Yeah, you see how they even put Keishi there towards the top side, right? They were trying to go for a gank onto Rian, so they're just really careful on what to do next, especially since the Lord is already up 9 minutes in. I think for Smart Omega, they should, or they actually want to take this one definitely, because they need to move in their side lanes. And at the same time, right, like Rian has been pushing in the sides, and you can see on the top side though, you see Jewel trying to make in the play. There's the counter engage from the circling Eagle. Shinoa as well forced to pop in that Salmon Force. Gets in that the Bloodwings as well, just in the nick of time. Look at the damage. Forcing the flicker out from Rain. Dawning Light misses by just a bit, but trunks her down to low HP, forcing her back into the base.
That's a lot of time bought for Smart Omega Empress to start and set up for the Lord, and you can already see that coming to play. The Lord almost at half HP. Remember, Bene still has 2 levels ahead. Let's see who wins this Retribution battle. It should be for ONIC Soul.
Yep, there's the Salmon Force. Shinoa as well. Rian to be able to free hit everyone. Not Ayanami onto the backside, zoning everyone away, but she gets bursted down. Numbers advantage towards the side of ONIC Soul. Look at Rian getting trapped in the field. Now gonna get targeted here by Bene. Appraiser's Rat. She's down. It's gonna be a Torny Ang taking down Keishi as well. 3 for the price of 1. It's only Rian down, but that is still ONIC Soul that won that trade. They lost their gold laner, but for the price of 3.
You could even say 4, right? With this Lord going to be blitzed down. Wouldn't even require the Retribution up until the point, but they do utilize that Retribution for safety. But what in the world happened there, right? You'd figure that Smart Omega Empress, with the way that they've been playing so far, would have a better advantage in the team fight, but I guess the crowd control coming in from ONIC Soul was a little bit too much to handle. They were able to kite down not Ayanami first. She was a little too far ahead, but wait a minute! That's a lot of damage on the Shinoa!
Yep, he's trying to go for Shinoa there when the Lord is dancing in on the bottom side.
Oh!
Mirai still has the gun win. Bene goes all the way in under the tower, but now gonna get punished by Shinoa and the rest of the members here of Smart Omega. They do get that tower on the mid side. They still have to take down this Lord on the bottom side. Onyx all finally able, or rather Smart Omega able to take one down. 2k advantage for the side of Onyx Soul. They also got the Lord in, but you know, you have to check in Shinoa as well. Level 12 right now, not yet shut down by the side of Onyx Soul. 302 on this Harriet.
Yeah, and it looks like they will be able to get that advantage. That Lord doesn't amount to too much. Not much damage has been given over to Smart Omega Empress. But that was such a good engage that just completely turned around in just a second, right? That wild charge did hit onto 2 or 3 members earlier on from the side of Smart Omega Empress. And then Bene follows up with the ult, but I guess the tower damage was a little bit too much, and they had to lose Bene in the process, and they were unable to capitalize fully on that Lord push.
Yeah, I think for Onyx Zol, right? Like Bene went all the way in because like okay, she was like, okay, probably Smart Omega after that they lost all of their ultimates. Maybe it's the best time to go in. And she was actually maybe perhaps thinking that the rest of the team members are going for the tower, but that was a whole lot of damage onto Bene, right? They were able to get the takedown onto her, but it's still Onyx Zol reading right now 2,500 can be changed if they get a shutdown onto Shinoa here. Now, speaking of Shinoa,
God.
there's the wild charge flicker. Still have the shields from the Matilda. There goes the Eternal Guard, dawning light from the backside. Peels everyone from the side of Onyx Zol to 1/4 HP. But right now, they have to back away. Nice initiation, but no one got taken down there.
Yeah, no follow-up. The counter engage potential from Smart Omega Empress is also super big because of the guiding wind that Murray can offer. And so they're able to weave in and weave out of these interactions that Onyx Zol really need to pay attention to. But for the most part, 13 minutes in, it's a very similar kill count on the board, 6-5, but Onyx Zol has been picking up most of the neutral objectives and they still lead the series. In the late game, Rian Moskov is going to be dealing out a lot of damage. But the problem is, from Smart Omega Empress, despite them going in for the Harith, with that mid-game power spike, they still have a more. So that damage is still going to be going through, and it looks like Ariang knows this, right? Positioning in a way to look for a flank to deal that damage into the backline.
Yeah, I mean, 1-2 punches coming out from the Paquito is going to be really deadly, especially for Amor. She only has the flicker. And right now, Lord's going to be worked on here by Smart Omega Empress. 1/4 HP. Onyx just waiting for the right time to set things up. You got the wild charge here. Jewel does not have the flicker just yet, but yeah, Keishi's doing a lot of work there up against the Lord. I'm not so sure what's the next call here, but I think all of them are just waiting for the ultimates to be up or the flickers to be up.
But remember, Onyx Zol, Bene has a 2-level, okay, now a 1-level lead.
Yeah.
So they do still have the advantage when it comes down to that 50-50 retribution battle.
Whoa, there's the combo coming out from Amore. The signal for everybody to go in. Dawning Light has been used. And we see the rest of the members of Onyx Soul actually backing away. Still no casualties from both sides. But Rian, Bene, are they gonna go for it? Even the Lord is pretty confused at this point. Who's gonna start it? Is it gonna be Omega? Actually, everyone's just gonna back away. As long as all the ultimates are down, everybody knows this is a hefty price to give to either Onyx Soul or Smart Omega, right? This is a Luminous Lord that you're talking about. And everybody needs this to push forward, especially for Smart Omega.
Yeah, they don't want to gamble on this, but you can already see the damage that Amor is dealing with the Dawning Light, especially with that Holy Crystal pickup. Jewel looking for it!
Yep, the follow-up's a little bit too late. Amore, Authority Act from the backside. Shinoa gonna be able to pick up a kill there. Still on a mega kill. Lord's gonna be taken in here by Bene. And Onyx Soul, they're still at it. They're still going for more. Smart Omega still gonna be able to sustain as much. They still give the Lord to the side of Onyx Soul, and they still do not suffer any casualties. They did get Rain, but the Onyx Soul, they got in this Luminous Lord.
It's a 1-for-1 trade, and it looks like it's 15 seconds left for Rain to come back and spawn in the Land of Dawn. And with the Grok, they can go for the strategy to buy some time, right? With the wall. But we'll see what happens here. The Lord is still marching. Nobody wants to push it. They want to wait for Rain to respawn. And that was so brutal. And now Rion has picked up the Malefic Roar. So even more damage coming through in this next upcoming interaction.
Yep, it is going to be a battle between who engages first. Like Jewel always lands in. As long as she has the flicker, the wild charge, she's just gonna go for it. But right now, Omega backs against the wall. They have to defend their second tier tower. They can't afford a wipeout right now. Amore going in for the Dawning Light just to chunk everybody, peel everybody. They still have to knock this Lord down. This is a Luminous Lord locking in onto the base of Smart Omega. They are able to chunk it down, defend their base up against Onyxol, and successfully take it down.
But unfortunately for them, the inhibitor turret that gets taken down is on the opposite side of the map to when the next Lord spawns. And so that's definitely some macro play that will be advantages for Onyxol to utilize, as it will be naturally pushing in favor of Onyxol towards Smart Omega Empress. So in the next upcoming Lord fight, when they go for the neutral objective take, Smart Omega Empress, they need to be very quick and stealthy about the way that they utilize and manipulate those waves, especially in the top lane.
Yeah, there's so many things to consider here right now for Onyxol. You see several times Attorney Ang trying to take down Amor, trying to take down Shinoa, but there's two heroes here you have to consider, right? The global presence of the Savior. But if you left Shinoa unchecked, she can just keep on dancing, keep on using that Zaman Force, and she hasn't been shut down just now. And if you look at the XP graph, it's slowly to dip here for Onyxol as the game continues to progress. 37 seconds they turn up before the next Luminous Lord, but map control, right? Like when you mentioned, the top side is pretty empty, so Smart Omega just has to send either not Ayanami or maybe even Shinoa just to clear up this lane. So map control is still on the side of Onyxol here.
For sure, for sure. It's a lot more housekeeping that Smart Omega Empress really need to think about. And you can actually already seeing that, right? As Onyxol are starting to set up for the next Lord, you can see 2 members had to be utilized to clear in that top lane just in case there are ganks available, because there's no information on the map so far. And of course, Amor can go for vision spotting with the ultimate, but I think it's too expensive up until this point. Now, we see that most of these members are at level 15. So it's already a 50-50 in terms of that retribution battle. ONIC already starting it up, looking for some baits to spot out information as to the positionings of the members of Smart Omega Empress, but they're not going to fall for it. This is going to be a very interesting Lord dance, especially now that the top lane has been slow pushed in by the Paquito.
Yeah, they have that advantage for Onyxol, right? Somebody has to take care of that. Somebody that has the initiation, not Ayanami, sent back in. Jewel as well. You can feel that she's trying to make in the plays, but Amor, you see that Dawning Light is starting to hurt. Instead, Smart Omega actually going to go for the objective on the bottom side. Concealed play has been made, but Smart Omega is able to reposition themselves. So again, the Lord here. It's going to be a retribution battle. Everybody is still up. You got the Guardian's Barrier here. Onyxol just has this contained. Let's see how this will pan out. Dawning Light has been committed. Retribution battle. Benny gonna be able to take that in. Once again, Keishi falls, and the rest of Smart Omega will back away for now.
That was beautifully done by Onyxol, by the way, right? Lapu Lapu was hidden in the bush for so long, so they don't give over that information that it's a 5v4 situation in the Lord Pit. As soon as they saw not Ayanami clearing out the waves, they went in for the initiation, was able to take the neutral objective. Hats off to Bene for getting that retribution down, and then they were able to disengage without any casualties. And Keishi had to lose there, so it was a very great moment for Onyxol, and they were able to capitalize on all fronts.
Now they have to melt down this Lord. 20 minutes in, second Luminous Lord for the side of Onyxol. They have the advantage right now. They have all of the tools as well for Onyxol. The flickers are all available. There goes the Eternal Guard. A lot of pressure from the side of Onyxol, but now Attorney Ang working in on the bottom side. Shinoa starting to hurt a lot as well. Zaman Force, the Lord is still up. sending Not Ayanami just to clear that one out. The rest of ONIC Soul actually backs away. They respect the damage Smart Omega has.
Yeah, they can't. They can't. Especially Rion just was able to pick up that Athena shield. I mentioned that earlier on, right? With the damage output in the later stage of the game, especially now that we're entering 21 minutes, the Dawning Light damage is going to be a big problem. Especially if Onyx Zol are looking for a proper play in these team fights. If they get chunked down before they can even set up properly, that's already a red flag, a red light for them to go back and disengage. If we take a look at the item builds, you can already see they even built in another defensive item here for Rian with the Rose Gold Meteor. So on top of that Athena Shield, there's also a Rose Gold Meteor. So it's a very similar build to what we saw earlier on the Moscow for Shinoa.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that, okay, you build up all of those magic damage and you can see, you know, it takes a lot of time, right? For Amoris Dawning Light, for her to get that combo right, and even Shinoa. It's massive respect to these two damage dealers right now. But you know, once it comes to the late game, it's all gonna be about the execution. Onyx Soul, though, they have that advantage of taking in the inhibitor on the top side, especially this is where the Lord is gonna be in. So Smart Omega, they have to take note of all of their lanes as of the moment, the plays as well that's going to be done here by Jewel, and to make sure that Shinoa and Amore is always up when the team fight is going to be initiated here by Onyx Soul.
But it's actually an advantage for Smart Omega Empress now, right? Because the lane that doesn't have the inhibitor turret is the lane
the top
with
side.
the Lord spawning. So
Yeah.
it will be much easier for them to control these waves pushing through. It was very different to the Lord that spawned earlier on. So now on Exol, that moment of capitalization has actually been eliminated, and now they have to look for a different way to capitalize over this team fight. Understanding that 22 minutes in, the damage from Shinoa, the damage from Amor, they're already ramping up.
Yeah, the Purifies are still up here for Mirai and Shinoa. So they have to save that up, right? Like once you get in the spear of alpha, or maybe even get that wild charge in, so they have to save it for that moment. But right now, you know, with one member, the initiator lacking here for the side of Smart Omega, Onyx Soul, they make a conceal move onto Keishi, zoning her out, but there's a lot of damage coming out from Shinoa. Half HP for the Lord. Mirai as well, aiding everyone with the shields, and now Onyx Soul actually backs away. You got the immortality here for Keishi this time, so it might be different. Will they go in for a play here? It might be a little bit too risky, considering that, you know, momentum-wise, it's gonna be towards the side of Onyx Soul. I think they might just force a team fight, or maybe go in for a pick-off here for both sides.
There was so much poke, right? And that's the problem. Onyx Zol saw that the Lapu Lapu was clearing in the bottom lane, and they had that small window of opportunity to look for an initiation play, but they couldn't find it. As soon as the Lapu Lapu just remained invisible, went back into the bush, no visibility on the map, that's when they were like, okay, no, I think it's a little bit too risky for us to go for the commitment onto this Lord. And now they're playing into Smart Omega Empress's plan. The Lord is going to be reset once again, however, and it looks like Onyx Zol, they're thinking and cooking up a different plan. Are they going to be sending the Paquito to clear in that bottom lane to force Smart Omega Empress into a top position?
Yeah, Not Ayanami has been sent towards that lane several times just to make sure that's cleared up. So a lot of pressure is being done here by Onyx Soul. But as of the moment, right, Jewel gonna go in and use in that wild charge. It already has been used up. Now Mirai gonna go for the counter play, guiding Wind out to safety. But that's two ultimates being used here by the roamers. Keishi's still gonna be working on that Lord. Everybody is still pretty healthy right now. 140 HP onto the Lord. Keishi gets in that Guardian's Barrier right now. They might just go in for the hero lock. Look at the damage coming through from Amore. Appraiser's Rat also onto Bene. Everybody's super tanky at this point.
Oh, no.
I'm not... Authority though, first one to fall here. Immortalities have been purchased. Keishi is going to be the target here from Bene. She's super low. She has Immortality, is able to back away. And I think Bene's just going to go for more here. Minions though, going to pop right in. And I think Smart Omega, they make it in time. They make it in time. So it was Keishi though getting taken down there, almost a win-win situation there, because it's crashing in onto the base of Smart Omega. Again, a reset, but this is still Onyx Soul in control right now with Keishi out of the picture 58 seconds before she is up.
yeah, they didn't have a jungler, right? With Keishi taken down, it looked like ONIC Zol made a moment decision to go in for the blitz onto the Lord, but they understand that most of their members are too low in HP for them to go for the commit, so they decided to retreat and they didn't want to go for the gamble. Look at these these death timers, right?
Yep.
60 seconds, 70 seconds, we're already reaching this 26 minute, and both of these teams, they are not going down without a fight. Both of these teams understand the gravity of this particular game, the finale, the conclusion to this best of 3 match, to see who will be able to move forward in the SPS Women's League Finals. And none of them want to let go of that opportunity. Shinoa picks up a Holy Crystal. More magic power for her to work with, as it looks like Rian is going for the blitz onto the Lord.
Yeah, this already at 1 HP. It's gonna be hard. They don't have their jungler here. Jewel, though. Look at that. The dawning light from the backside. It's still gonna be Bene picking that up for the side of ONIC Zol, but I think Smart Omega, they're gonna force this one out. Bene, already immortality being lost here. Winter Charge on play there, but look at the Thorny Ant. Look at the damage coming through as well onto Rian. Keishi's gonna be able to soak it up, but care of the Guiding Wind. Everybody is still alive from Smart Omega. They do have not Ayanami, who's already down 54 seconds before she's back up. This is going to be hard to defend for the Empresses. They not only get the super minions, but they don't have their initiator. So their only front line is going to have to be Keishi here.
They've lost control. Smart Omega Empress, time and time again, that retribution has been put to the test, and Keishi is still unable to gain that retribution over Bene. And now it looks like ONIC Zol are looking for the end. Shinoa's gone.
Big pick off for the side of ONIC Zol. They took down Shinoa, and now the Enhanced Lord is here, knocking at the base of Smart Omega. Will this be enough to take the Queens down? Rian has locked the base, proving to us that Queens can fall. But it's up to them.